God is good, everybody, and every day that passes brings us a day closer to logging into Pantheon together to explore and discover Terminus. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing for more MMO and Pantheon related content. Before we begin, I want to do a shout out to Pantheon Radio for their dedication to providing their website, which 24/7 delivers content to all of us thirsty for Pantheon related information. Check them out at pantheonradio.com. I'll leave a link down below. And I just want to say thank you for featuring my content on your station and for the cool mug that I will show off once I receive it. And also, if you are interested in Pantheon lore, check out Monster Koala here on YouTube. It's so good, basically, that I decided to drop my attempts at making Pantheon lore content because it's just got me beat. Okay, so check it out if you're interested in lore for the World of Terminus. Today I want to talk about how the community of Pantheon is being shaped by the way the game is being developed. In other words, how do the systems in the game affect the majority of the community? Or do they at all? For example, Baron's chat. That's all I have to say, and you all know what it means. Unfortunately, that is what a lot of people think of the entirety of the World of Warcraft community is based off of Baron's chat, because that's what they've seen, and that's the interpretation they got. Now, that's laughable to anybody who has actually put a lot of hours into World of Warcraft, or joined guilds and interacted with the game on a many hours level. But all of us should be able to agree that World of Warcraft has a widely used looking for group, looking for dungeon, and looking for raid system that is heavily used and the quickest and most used way of doing the majority of World of Warcraft's content. And I can say with certainty that every other MMO either straight copied this formula or added it to their game, meaning this is how we do content across the genre at this point. We join a party finder and we wait for queue. Most of us just standing in a major city waiting for it to pop. When the queue pops, we join a random group of other adventurers. We say hello. Well, maybe. Sometimes we say hello, then we're off. Now, this random adventurers are across a sea of other people on various servers or clusters of servers, and that's just so that our queue times will be faster. That's what people ask for. I want my content quick and simple. Then we pummel through the content as quickly as possible without ever having to stop, unless somebody has to potty, grab a drink, or smack their kid or something. No, I'm just kidding, don't smack your kid. And then when we're done, we grab our loot, we might say GG, good group, and then we're off. Back in the main city, repair our gear, check out our loot, and then back to the party finder for another quick run of content, and the loop repeats. This is multiplayer in MMOs these days. That's what you do. That's what we all do. It's not even hardly dependent on what game you are playing. That's the MMO way. That's just how it all works, and we all end up in this cycle. We are playing a game with other people, but the interaction level goes no further than knowing there is a real person there. I've thought many times how a developer could just make an AI system that just basically pops an NPC in the place of a member of the party and have it say hello and GG at the end, and we probably wouldn't even notice. That is sad. It makes me sad anyway, and it takes away the massive part of the MMO. It also deteriorates the community, in my and many others' opinion, and what we are left with, this shell, this empty husk of a multiplayer experience when compared with the bonds and the friendships forged in the older classic MMOs. Let me explain. So, once upon a time, you would level up far enough to get down the very basics of your class, probably solo, usually around level 10. Then you would make it to some area or some dungeon that would be the obvious and best choice to continue leveling up. Everybody would be going there, and everybody in your level range would be shouting, looking for a group to enter the dungeon or area name here, or looking for more, need healer, 1 slot left for DPS, or some such, and you would find a group. Or maybe the game has a built-in looking for group tool that simply marks you as looking for a group, and groups out there that are looking to fill an empty slot would find you on that list and send you a tell. Either way, these were all people on your server, people you might see again and probably will. But the problem was, sometimes you might be sitting there yelling looking for a group for a while because, before somebody had a slot for you. I always found it easier to simply start my own group, and the core reason why I first began picking the tank classes. All I needed was a healer, and then I could get my group together. And another piece of info, I talked my wife into healing, so bam, grab some DPS looking for grouping, and off we go. But basically, I don't know how many times I would see 3 tanks yelling looking for group, 4 healers yelling looking for group, and 20 DPS yelling looking for group. Those are several groups. They're all waiting for someone to start the group. Just somebody start inviting, for crying out loud. But I digress. The point is, you would finally get in a group, and then you would get all excited. You would travel to your group's location, or if they were deep in the dungeon, a lot of times they would come back up and scoop you up, and off you go. They might take you to an area of a dungeon you hadn't seen before, or a spot you hadn't thought of as a good camping spot, and you would grind your little booty off for hours and hours and hours. There would be downtime. Time that healers were replenishing their mana, that tanks were replenishing their stamina, that people had to use the bathroom, etc., etc. And during that time, you would get to know each other. You would be together with virtually these same people for so many hours. And by the way, you would be doing your role as best as possible, because getting a group is so important. You want to be invited back. You wanted a good reputation on your server. As a matter of fact, that was kind of the most important aspect for most of us back then, was being known on our server. It's that kind of classic popularity contest side of the brain, except this was all virtual. We all start at the same spot in our virtual life, level 1, and knowing nothing. And we were working together to get better at the game. But because you would spend so much time grinding through this dungeon, or sometimes honestly sitting in one really good camp spot for all these hours, you got to know each other. You began trusting one another. People start asking others if they could use some staff they dropped and they got and have no use for. People are thanking one another. They're laughing together. They're having a great time. And this isn't because the content required them necessarily to constantly communicate. It's because you stick people together for a long period of time, all with a common goal. In this case, getting experience. They begin to form a bond together. Fact, it worked then and it will work now. How do I know it will work now? Well, because you can find a game that still features that type of gameplay, such as EverQuest on a private server, Final Fantasy XI on a private server, where they go back to that core gameplay style, and there you will be experiencing exactly what I'm talking about. You will think I'm psychic, actually, because it will be so accurate. Brad McQuaid from the original EverQuest team has been looking around for years at the new MMOs and seeing the trends and the shortcomings and seeing the complaints and communities, and thankfully decided enough is enough. He knew what was wrong. He knew what was missing, and now we have Pantheon Rise of the Fallen coming. You see, it will not matter if Pantheon uses a shout system only to look for your group, or if it has an in-game looking for group tool. What I do know is it will not auto-pair you up with people across the servers and feed you to a quick instanced event and then boot you back to the starting city. That is completely against the grain of the core vision that Brad has. And because of this, our community will prosper. We will have many, many friends. We will get that ultimate sense of group gameplay that has been missing for many, many years. And I cannot wait. Here in a few days, I want to jump back into this topic a little more, but I like to keep my videos relatively short as not to bore my viewers to death. Short and sweet, that's the way I like my YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone for all the support here on YouTube, on Reddit, Pantheon Radio, and MMORPG.com. The more support I receive, the more I'll get back to the community with more content. But I just wanted to let you all know that when you thumbs up, or vote up, or comment, and let me know you enjoy my videos, it's the driving force behind keeping me going, so thank you. And if you want more, please consider subscribing, dropping me a like, a comment, or tattooing my logo on your buttocks, whatever it is you feel is necessary. Thanks again, guys, God bless, and happy gaming.